very much, Kristen, and everyone for inviting me here and welcoming me to BC. I've been a few times with CMEX over the years, but it was nice to see some familiar faces and then meet some people that I hadn't met yet. I guess I'm going to try and wrap up the day with kind of a summary of a lot of the things that we talked about today, a lot of the things, the new technologies, the marketing side of it, all that type of stuff, and how we use it at Blondin and how I've used it throughout my career. Some of the things that we do in the marketing initiatives that we do at the farm, and some of the things that you can do and take home to your herd and use on a day-to-day basis. Don't think of everything that I show you today as something that you need to do. Everyone has to find what works best for your herd and your market and your breeding goals. There's a lot of things that we do that might not work in another environment. So there's a lot of differences between them, but there'll be a lot of similarities and hopefully some things that you can draw on and take back to your herds. Just to give you a quick mention on my background, as Kristen mentioned, I was raised on a dairy farm in Eastern Ontario, Brady Farms. My father milks, still today, 60 cows. And when I was younger, I started a web design company. I worked for CMEX for 9 years. When I started, I was a product support specialist, so I would go out and see young sire daughters and things like that, and visit herds in different countries and talk to them about the bulls and the breeding programs and things that I was seeing as I was going on. I did that for 9 years. I transitioned about 8 years ago. They decided to get back into the embryo market. CMEX had been out of the embryo market, and then they decided to get back into it when the borders closed to help producers generate some income, sell some embryos, and promote the Canadian genetics around the world. That business grew to the point where I managed our own division, and it was very successful, and a lot of breeders around the world now are importing embryos through CMEX and things like that. Then 1 year ago, just a week or two ago, I started at Blondin, and they wanted to continue developing and marketing their herd. They've obviously invested in genetics and cows and cow families, and they wanted to keep promoting and building what they have in their herd today. So I'll go into that a little bit further. The farm itself, at Blondin, we milk 100 cows. It can vary between 100 and 120. We have a good market for local fresh cows, cleaned up, ready to go, with a nice pedigree. We have a good market for some of those, so it can fluctuate between 100 and 120 cows. We have it's a tie stall barn. I have a picture here in a moment. It's a tie stall barn with 9 box stalls. We just added well, I'll talk about Facebook. Maybe you saw us knock down our silo on Facebook. We posted the video of it as it was falling. Anyway, we knocked down one of the silos and put a new box stall in there, so now we have 9. We attend 7 to 10 shows a year. It's a big part of our marketing program. It's how people know about some of the cows that we're working with, and it helps us to promote our breeding program. We flush every Thursday between 3 and 8 animals. This last 2 months has been about maybe 8 to 10 animals every Thursday. It's been very busy. And we do IVF every 2 to 3 every Tuesday. So our IVF program, because we're located close to Abbotsford, we can take our heifers in and collect them the same day, heifers or cows, collect them the same day and bring them home so they can be in their stall when they get home at night. It works very well for us, and we enjoy the program a lot for the ones that we do on IVF. Just some quick pictures of the farm. These 2 photos are of our barn is actually kind of 2 levels. There's the top level with more of the cows that are on the show program and in the box stalls. That's in these 2 pictures. And then down below, way down there, is the other part of the barn. A lot of those ones, maybe as Rich was mentioning, we'll put them on a different ration because maybe they're flushing, so they'll get a different feed in that area. A lot of what we do is hosting tours. We have a lot of tours that come to the farm every year, and I'm going to talk about it, but this is a huge time and a huge opportunity for you to work with those customers. They are customers, they are potential customers, and they're there to see what you have available, and we work with those. We try and we build those relationships with them when they're visiting the herd, make sure we take their pictures, spend time with them, because they're going to go home to their country and spread the news about what they've seen at your farm. Where to start? I've got a couple quotes. I enjoy looking up some new ones, and a goal without a plan is just a wish. And a lot of what I'll talk today about is defining what your goals are. Don't think that you need to copy what ours are or what mine is. Each one of us has different goals in everything that we do, whether we play hockey or do this or that. You need to decide what you want to do and what works best in your environment. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. And that's a big part of what we try and do. You need to find your passion and what drives you for your business, and those customers will follow you because they believe in that. Step one is find your passion. You need to take a look at what it is that drives you. And don't think it needs to be show cows and pretty this or pretty that. There's a big market out there for other genetics. There's countries that just buy embryos from cows who have produced 10,000 kilograms of milk as a 2-year-old. Maybe that's your goal in your herd. And you could be working just to promote that side of the business. Maybe it's not a big flashy ad somewhere, but it's working with that country to take 100 to 1,000 embryos a year from cows that produce those statistics. So there's a whole bunch of niche industries, and you need to find that within yourself, where you want to be, and what's going to drive you every morning when you wake up to milk those cows. Keep it simple. We're all busy enough. I know a lot of you have taken a lot of time out of your day to be here today, and that's a big investment in what you've done because you want to proceed with what you're doing in your herd. And keeping everything as simple as possible is going to benefit you the most. Like I said, there's lots of things that I'll go through that you want to do, but pick the ones that you think are going to give you the most benefit and then move forward from there. And don't focus on the other guys. I know a lot of people will say the opposite, look at what everyone's doing and do that. Don't not see what other people are doing, but find your niche, find your market, find what works for you, and then build from that. If you find a post on Facebook, gets a big response, do the same thing again. Change it a little, do it again. And it's going to build your audience and build that niche product that wants to buy into what you're doing. Marketing your herd. As it's mentioned, you need to define your goals and objectives. What do you want to do? What do you want to achieve with your herd? There's all these different traits, all these different things that people want to focus on, but you really need to figure out which is the one that you want to focus on. You can try and do all of them, but doing all of them, you'll do none of them exceptionally well. But if you define it down to 2 or 3, even 1, then you're going to put all your focus and time into those and not worry about all the other ones. And that's what I think with genomics right now. Genomics, we use genomics, we have genomic heifers, and we use it in our breeding decisions, but we use it as a tool. And I think genomics have brought so many new things into the market that our industry right now is not totally confused, but very confused about which way each of us wants to go. And I think that's where a lot of us need to decide today where we want to go. Where do you want to be in 2, 5, and 10 years? And we try and define those so that we can have goals, and you're not just chasing, this week I need to use a polled red carrier because that's what I heard sold well at this sale over here. If polled red carriers is your goal, that's awesome. Then you should research and do everything you can to find out about that industry. But if it has nothing to do with your goals, don't focus on it. Pay attention to where you want to go and where you want to achieve, and keep working on that. So define where you want to be. And there's show, genomics, these are all examples. But I think some people forget about, there's 7 billion people in the world. And those 7 people need to be fed. And all of our industry is fueled by selling that milk. And that's the biggest thing about it. And there is going to be a big industry that just asks for production, just asks for health traits, because they want to produce milk. So if you're one of the top producers in your county, in your club, in your province, in Canada, then you can use that to market your herd and gain that genetic advantage, but also the sales. What if someone came to you and wanted to take 1,000 embryos at $250? That's a lot of money. And if you were passionate about that, and the buyers of that product knew that you had a passion about it, and you were a leading candidate in that part of the industry, you're going to have that edge when those customers come calling. And there's customers. When I was at CMEX, we would work with tenders and things like that, where they would buy 1,000 or 2,000 embryos. They would want to buy 1,000 to 2,000 embryos at a time, and they would have no qualifications for classification, but they would have huge qualifications for production and somatic cell. Maybe in your herd, that's something that you really focus on. So don't just think it's about show cows or genomics or this or that. There's a market. If you're focused on it, there's a market for that. Research. One of the biggest things you'll need to start to do when you start planning for a marketing program for your herd, taking all the stuff that we learned today, you need to figure out where your market is. Is it local? So for us, we know that we have a good market at Blondin selling cleaned up, fresh heifers, ready to go, replacement heifers. We know that. So that's our local market, and that's where we focus on some of our marketing things and the things that we do in sales to make sure that we have some nice animals ready for customers that stop by the herd and want some replacement heifers. But you need to look at your market. Do you have that? Is that what you're going after? Or is your market an international market? Do you know the restrictions for those countries? Is there a country that buys specifically for this and that? And what are the restrictions for that country? For example, there's some countries, if you want to sell embryos, you need to put the cow into quarantine for 3 weeks or 3 months or whatever it is. Is that something you're prepared to do? Are you set up that you can do that? So those are all types of things that once you decide what path you want to go down, you want to do the research and find out where those customers are as well. Not only where your customers are, but where your customers' eyes are. So where are they looking? What do they read? What do they research? Where do they check the website every morning? All of those things are going to give you the advantage, so you're not wasting your time putting ads here, there, or talking to the wrong people. You're finding out where those customers are looking, so then you're there as well. Do they go to trade shows, conferences, things like today? Do they go to big conferences internationally? Those are the things you need to find out from those customers. We show cows because we have a market for those show kind of cows. We know our customers there, and that's why we continue to do it. And we talk about it continually. Should we be at this show because we believe our customers will be in that market on that day? And that's the things you need to discuss, and not just say, oh yeah, let's go to the show. Every time you go to something, that's an investment in your time and your money. So you need to take a look and see, is it worth our investment? Are we going to get the promotion out of it? In print, is your customer a Cosmo reader, or are they a Hort's Dairyman reader? Like I said, those health traits, each customer is going to have a different focus in a different magazine or a different online website, and you need to find out which one fits with your marketplace. Online, and we saw today the great presentation this morning. There's all those different facets of an online presence and where you need to be. It's where not you need to be, but where your customers are and how you can interact with those customers. Participate. This is probably one of the biggest things to take out once you've decided, okay, this is what I'm going to focus on, this is my breeding program, and now it's time for you to be active in that community. Those people there's discussions, a lot of what I'm talking about is based online, but not necessarily. Is there a trade show that's focusing on old calves? Well, if that's one of your breeding goals, you need to be there. You need to participate. Because when those customers that are on the fringe and they're looking in on what's happening within the industry, you need to be one of their sources so that when they decide, yeah, that's what I want to breed for, you're already a contact point. You've already spoken to them. You already know, they know your name, so that when they make a decision, they're coming to you instead of you being on the outside trying to go on the in. Hosting tours. It's a big thing that we do at Blondin, and it's a big thing that I was involved with when I was at CMEX. I would travel with all the international groups coming in, whether it be in BC or whether it was in Quebec, Ontario. But hosting tours is your biggest opportunity to sell. When the customer is in front of the cow, that's your best opportunity. The biggest thing I always see is the tour will come to the farm and maybe the customer loves the cow and she's right there. That's your time to close the sale before he leaves the farm, and then he calls home to his wife and she says, the bill just came for this. Then the guy says, well, I'll see you at the show. It's too late. He's already tuned it out. He's already gone. But if you're able to make that sale, or at least make him love one of those cows that you're working with when he's there, then he's going to keep it in his memory. He's going to remember where he was, and that's the best time, is when they're right there on the farm with them. Have the cows ready to see. And it doesn't matter if you're in a tie stall, free stall, pasture base, wherever. Make sure that those cows that you are trying to market, that are flushing, that you're trying to sell from, make sure they're up and close. Don't make sure they're not way in the back and covered in shit, but make sure they're up front so that you're not slopping trying to find her and the guy's already gone out to look at the tractor. You want to keep that customer right there as focused as you can, because you want to show him your passion, that you're ready for him, and that he can see the product that you're trying to promote and sell. And the biggest thing, you never know who in that group is going to buy. And that's probably one of the biggest things, and I'll talk about it with our Facebook page and stuff like that. We build big relationships with our customers, and you never know which person in that group is the one that's going to buy. There could be a kid that messages you on Facebook, and you look them up, and they're like 15 years old. Well, maybe his grandfather is actually giving him some money to invest and move forward with the herd. Recently happened to us. A young person bought some embryos, and they're trying to build their herd and move forward. And they're trying to promote the next generation, their kids, into becoming part of the farm. So you never know which of those people coming into the herd is the one that's going to buy some embryos, or call home and tell them how much they love the cow that they just saw. Speak slowly and clearly. Maybe I'm speaking a little fast, but remember, a lot of the people that are going to come and visit your herd, their first language isn't English. It might be French, it might be Spanish, it might be Portuguese. Always remember to speak clearly and slowly, if they're not speaking English. A lot of them want to take notes. They want to hear what you have to say, and a lot of us don't like getting up and speaking in front of people. It's never fun, but it's a big part, because those breeders, I can tell you, when they get back on the bus from visiting your herd, they love to hear what you say, and they're taking notes, and they're remembering what you're feeding, and they're remembering this and that, and to them, it's a big moment for them to see the cows that you're working with, and to ask questions. So take the time, be friendly, be open, and speak slowly so they can understand. And if someone's translating, let them have the time to translate and ask questions. Being welcome, food, drinks, coffee, whiskey, anything. Simone will be happy I mentioned that. That's great. But that's part of it. A lot, and I'm going to get into it next. It's all building relationships. If someone comes to your door and you want to build a relationship with them, it's not some guy selling dishwasher soap or something. You want them to be connected to you. And there's no better way than to share a coffee, grab a drink, and whiskey or whatever. You can have a drink together, and that breaks the ice. The the biggest thing when you first meet someone is breaking that ice and finding that connection. And sometimes when we bring people to the farm, we always have coffee or donuts or something, especially in the cold. They're cold, they want to get inside, they want to see your cows. But if you can find a way to start connecting with them, you're already going to break the ice so that when you get down to see that great cow that they really like, they're not scared to ask what she has available or what's for sale. You'll be totally surprised how many people get back on the bus and then ask their driver that took them around, "Well, did you know if that cow had any embryos or anything?" That's too late. I don't want them to ask that, their guide. You want them to ask when they're at the farm. So make them feel comfortable, make them feel welcome, and they're going to ask more questions and be more involved with your product. Being prepared. Try and have a checklist, and you can use my checklist if you want. It's just a simple checklist to make sure you have everything ready for when those people arrive. So one of the biggest things is make sure that you have something with your contact information on it. So if that person was too nervous to ask or they want to think about it, at least when they leave, they can find you right away. And make sure it has all your contact, your Facebook page, because you want them to like you, and hopefully you're going to take their picture and tag them in it when they leave, but that's besides the point. Make sure you have all your contact information so they can get to you right away. Photos. If the cow took a great photo, print one on a big piece of paper, and have extra copies, because people love to take the picture home with them. And remember, when they come to visit your herd, they're stopping at 20 to 30 other herds. So you want every opportunity you can to make sure that they remember your cow and not your neighbors or something. Because you're in it, you're trying to promote and market your herd and sell your herd. So you want the best opportunity that they're going to remember your cow while they were at your place. An embryo inventory. I have a picture of it in the presentation actually, and I have some with me on how we do our embryo inventory. And we give it to all of our guests when they stop at the herd. It has our picture. It has pictures of the cows on it, and it has stats about the cows and things, because you want to give them all the information when they leave that they still have something from your place. Pricing cows. This is pricing cows and embryos. It's one that's surprising but not surprising. When you visit the herd with a tour group, a lot of times, especially if there's partners involved, but a lot of times guys will ask for a price, and the breeder will say, "I'll get back to you." And gone. He's going to buy something somewhere else. Because as soon as you can't give a definite answer, then they're going to start to think about something else. So you want to have it prepared ahead of time. If you have partners that you've discussed with them ahead of time, okay, we've got a tour group coming in today, these are the embryos we have available, what's our price, and set where you want to negotiate too. Because the worst thing is when the guy's going to offer you $100 less. And you need to know whether you're prepared to take that offer or if you're going to stand firm. And you want to be prepared for that. So everything is just getting prepared ahead of time so that you've had the discussion with your partner, you know where you need to be. Sure, it's going to happen sometime where he wants to buy 100 embryos, I hope, and you're going to need to negotiate. But you want to be prepared for that before they arrive. Production information. It always happens. Someone's going to ask what her 2-year-old projection was or is, or what her percent fat protein is. Have those details ready, especially on those high-profile cows that you're trying to market. Genomic information. If your tour group is looking for genomic information, or you think that they would be, have a binder prepared on any of those heifers that are flush age. Don't worry so much about the ones that you're not working with. Maybe they're already bred. You can have it in the back of the book, but at least have those ones that you're working with in the front of the book so you can check it and make sure that because he's going to ask you what our DGV for type is, or somatic sale or something. And you want to be prepared for that and not go, I got to run into the house. You want to have it all ready. Signs over the cows or in front of the stalls. And whether you're in a tie stall or a freestall, at least having some information so they know if you're working in a freestall environment and you want to separate those special ones, have something on the wall, especially if it's a group, because if it's a group, about 2/3 of them will be listening, and then 1/3 will be looking around and everything else, and they'll read the signs and they'll check them out, and then they'll tell the other guy in the group, hey, here's the sign for that cow over here. And just whether the cows have tags on and you can see a number or something, at least you can point to the sign on the wall so they know what animals are in that group. And it's a little thing. It's just a little thing, but it gets them more, that customer's comfortable that you have all the information laid out and ready for them so that they can take a look at what you're trying to present. Always have an up-to-date embryo inventory. And this is a hard one. It doesn't matter who it is. It's always a hard one because there's always so much going on. And trying to keep track of all your embryo inventory can be very busy. But I always try and do mine on flush day because that's the day everything happens. So once I get the numbers in, I try and update it so at least I've got it written down somewhere so that I know exactly what were put in and what ones are frozen because it's going to happen. And you never know when that customer is going to email you back. I was sitting here 15 minutes ago and the customer of ours in the UK asked for a price list. Now I keep it on my phone so I'm lucky, but at least have something that you can access quickly and always find out. The worst feeling in the world is when you sell embryos that don't actually exist. It's a terrible feeling because it's good because you sold something, but it's bad because you don't have it. So you try and always sell what you have, obviously, but it's going to happen. But at least try to be up to date and have your most up-to-date list. Because it's always a bad feeling because you're disappointing the customer when you have to go back to them. So you want to always have the most up-to-date information when you go back to them. Know your pricing. It's what I talked about before. That's a picture. So that's a picture of what we use for our embryo updates. We use a recent photo if we have it, or a dam if we don't. And then all of our price lists have all of our inventory have the pricing, and then some comments, whether they were show cows or index cows, whatever they were. We have this. So I produce this, and I know some people will say, well, that's going to take a lot of time. Yep, that's true. Even something just as simple as a piece of paper with like a graph on it to show how many number ones you have available, the cow's name, the sire, and the price. And that's enough for some people because when they visit your herd, you can say, oh yeah, this is that gold win, she's the second one on the page, and they might highlight her, they might put a star beside her. Stars are good, if someone stars them, that's a good thing. So you want them to do that when they're looking at your cows. And they remember them, and maybe they're going to talk to their tour guide, maybe they're going to talk to you. But at least they have something that they can reference. Instead of, because if you just say, that's that gold win, she's gone now, but that gold win, she's got 5 Winbrook eggs, and they won't remember. They don't know which one she is. They can't reference anything. So have just even a simple piece of paper prepared can really help you to promote and sell those embryos as fast as you can. Focus. I mentioned don't try everything. Try some things that work for you, and then build from there. I'm going to talk a little bit about what we do on Facebook and social media and website and stuff, but don't try and do all of the things, just find the ones that work for you. Planning and organizing, I try anyway, to focus. It doesn't always happen, but each day try and figure out where you are and what you want to do. Whether it's spending 15, 20, half an hour at night when you get in to research the new bulls that are in your niche product, whether it's polled or red or show, which bulls people are using in that. So then when it becomes time to breed that heifer next week that you forgot was getting IVF or flush, you've already done some research and you kind of know where you want to be on the bulls that you want to use. And that way you're already preparing instead of making that last minute adjustment. If it's your passion, you're going to love doing it. You're going to love researching it. You're going to love looking up the cows and things like that and making it your own. Update your embryo inventory right away. And if you have partners on cows, partnerships are always, it's always a hard thing because you have enough to run on your farm, so trying to keep your partners updated on what's happening on their animals is always a big thing. We have a lot of partnerships at Blondin, and it's a part of some of the stuff that I do, just keeping our partners updated on where the cows and heifers are, and they'll appreciate that. Sometimes a lot of our partners just say, do what you think is the best, do what works for you, and then some are very hands-on where they really want to pick the bulls and things, and that's fine. They've invested in those animals. But keeping that contact with them is going to build that relationship. Be consistent. Make sure you use the same logo, the same colors. Don't go to one show and have a red banner, and the next show you use a purple banner. Like, we all look at those big companies and big companies out there, and that's the biggest thing is Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola is going to spend $1 trillion at the Olympics and everything, but everything's in red. And you know when you see that logo, that's a Coca-Cola stand or that's a Coca whatever. Those are the same things that you want to do with your herd. Be consistent, choose a logo, stay with it, and a color, and stay with it, and put it in your website, like Ella and Lexi was saying. Put it in your website, in your print materials. Make sure that that's consistent through everything that you do. Relationships. Sell to people who believe what you believe. And that's what a lot of what I'm talking about goes down to. You want to find those customers that when you decide what your passion is or what you want to breed for, you find customers that want to do the same thing. And they're going to want to buy from you because you're so passionate about that. Building your relationship with your customers. If this is the only thing that you take out of my presentation today, it's the biggest thing. Your customers are the people who have already invested in your product and love what you do. So make sure to build that relationship with them. It's a totally new world than 1980, 1990, even 2000s. Now, with technology, you can build relationships with those customers, and they're going to ask you questions. And like I said, sometimes you'll get questions that you don't think have any relevance, and then 2 months later, they're going to come back and buy something because they saw you posted something on Facebook. Never underestimate the value of that relationship and that person that has gone out of their way to contact you to find out about your product, your herd, your breeding goals. Follow up with your buyers. They've already believed in your product. And I know it can be very stressful or nervous when you send that email, somebody bought 10 embryos, and you think, if I don't say anything, maybe they got bad results, I don't want to check. But you do want to check, because if they got bad results, you want to be the first one to tell them you're going to make it right and find a way to get them some pregnancies. Because they've invested in you, and they now, with the way technology works, do you know how fast on Facebook, if someone got 0 pregnancies, they're going to tell all their neighbors and their friends that also want to buy embryos down the road that they got 0 pregnancies? Or do you want them to post on Facebook that unfortunately they didn't get any embryos, but whoever herd X sent them 5 more replacements so they can make some more pregnancies? That's what you want to spread. You want to spread that you're looking after your customers, servicing them, and make sure that they're happy with your product. Respond within 24 hours. And that's, in our day and age, that's actually slow. We are all instant people now. We all carry cell phones, we all have one in our back pocket, and we all text our friends and our family, and they all respond right away. So when a customer does, always remember when a customer sends you a message, they've also sent 3 or 4 other people a message about other embryos. So if you take the 24 hours or a week to respond, they've already picked something else, or they've already bought something else. Or at least they've got the prices from something else. So you want to respond right away to get the best response out of that customer, and hopefully they take your product because you've been forthright and supplying the information, pricing, all those details. We live in an instant world. The longer your response, the less time there is for the sale. The longer it takes you. When I was selling embryos, customers were never just asking about one. Unless they really wanted one specific cow, they would ask about a family, for example. And you want to be able to... I had people where I would make an offer to purchase embryos, and they didn't respond for a week, maybe because they were busy or whatever. But during that same time, the customer isn't going to wait. I know things are busy at your end, but the customer is also very busy, and they, in our instant world now, they look for that fast response. So the faster you can respond, supply the information, hopefully they pick your product over those other people that haven't yet responded. If I was going to say where to start today, social media would be my easy answer. It's free other than your time, and your time is very valuable and an investment, but there's no better way to build a relationship than by using social media. It will take time, and it will take time to build those followers and things like that. As Ella and Lexi were saying, have a fan page for your herd. Don't make it an individual. There's stats and things that come with building a fan page, and it's going to take time. We have 4,400 followers, but it's taking time to build that, and it's the time that you invest in it, you're going to get back. And now with social media, it allows you to connect and build relationships with your customers or your potential customers so much faster. It allows you to have one-on-one discussions, things like that, that you could never have before. Email was impersonal, and now social media, there's a picture attached to it, and you can converse with them, talk about their family, all things like that. That'll eventually, hopefully, they're going to lead to a sale and to promote your farm and your genetics. Tell your story. That's what social media is made for. Social media was made to tell your story. That's why Facebook was made. That's why Twitter is made. Everything you do with social media is about telling your story. So like I said, if it is cold that you bought into, why are you doing it? What did you do? Did you have a calf born this morning? I know those sound like very small and petty things, but it makes you and your farm, which that customer in Brazil may not know you personally, but they've started to see your Facebook posts about cold or this or red carrier, and they start to know that you're part of that. So tell your story. Tell the people that follow you what you're doing. Did you have a calf born this morning from your favorite cow? I know it seems small. It's a picture of a little wet calf, but that's what's going to build a relationship. If you use a Facebook page and the only thing is, hey, you want to buy my embryos? You want to buy my embryos? Hey, you want to buy my embryos? You know how many people are just going to tune it right out eventually? All of them. You'll get a couple hits, but if you're always in someone's face trying to sell, then they're not going to buy because they're just going to tune it right out. You're trying to build a relationship with the people that want to invest in your product and not just trying to sell all the time. Keeping your website. It's another thing we were discussing. Website. We found out a website is for the people that are already very interested in your product and want to do more research, whether they want to see a picture of full sisters or this, or click on to find their pedigree, things like that. They want to go to your site and they want to see what's updated and current, and your embryo list, make sure it's updated. That's probably one of the big things. Keep your embryo list updated so that people can do the research and see what's available. But they are coming to you, and that's a difference. But between these two, social media and a website, they're two totally different worlds. Websites, Web 1.0, it's the first generation of the web, internet, it's over here. And social is 2.0. So before, people only came to your website if they wanted to see your product. So you had to do everything you could to get them there. If you come to my website. But social, when you create a website, when you create a page for your farm and someone likes it, it means they want to follow what you're doing. It means they are interested in your product, and when you have something to say about it, they want to hear it. And that's the difference. That's a huge difference. It's one is push and one is pull. Pull, you're trying to pull people to your website. Hey, come see my stuff. But Facebook, Twitter, people get it on their phone and they want to hear what you're saying. They want to hear it. They subscribe to you. And that's a huge opportunity for you to use their eyes to show your product and your goals at your business. Keep it current, the website, back to the website. But inform others of your updates. And Lexi and Ella talked about it. When you do changes to your website,
you want people to come there. You want them to come and see and do the research and look. So tell them, tell other magazine websites, put it on discussion forums. Hey, we updated, we got new pictures. Make sure people know about it. Because if you don't tell anyone, probably they're not going to come unless they had a reason to come to your site. So you want them to have a reason. You want them to know that there is a reason to go to the site. Content is king. It's a social media term. The more content that you produce, the more chances are that someone's going to see it. And that was what I was talking about, taking that picture of that little wet calf or whatever. You're producing something so people know what's happening at your farm. And that's one of the biggest things that, when we started at Blondin, our Facebook, 1 year ago was at 1,011 likes. And today it's at 4,400. And a lot of that increase just came from producing content, whether it's a photo, whether it's a video, just a message about what bulls we're using this week. Those are types of things. And I know when you first start out and you have 100 likes, you're just like every day and you get 1 or 2, it's a big victory, because every time you add someone else, you're adding one person, but as soon as that person likes one of the posts on your page and they have 1,000 followers, those people are going to see that in their feed. And hopefully 10 of those people that are friends with them are going to like your page because they see it. So it spreads, and it spreads, and it spreads. And that's the big difference between the old website, just having a website, and social media, and connecting the two of them together. So creating photos, videos, whether you're at a show, you just finished washing, all the heifers are lying down, take a picture, throw it up. People want to see what's happening. They've subscribed to you. They're interested in what you're doing at your farm. Articles. Sometimes it can be good if you wanted to produce an article on your website about what you're doing or what you think on a certain topic. People enjoy it. Those ones are going, if they read that article, they are very invested in you and what you believe in at your farm. So take the time to produce those type of content. Questions, whether that's asking questions of your followers or participating in other people's questions. Participate, be a part of the community, and then you get known for being a part of that product. To wrap it up, this is some of the print material that we do. We have 2 different we do an embryo list like the one I have here. I have some extras if anyone wants it, but we do an embryo list that can get updated every day, and then we do some print ones that we keep around the farm. It's like our brochure for the farm. We have a brochure for the farm as well, but this is one that it's harder when it's print like this because we flush every Thursday. So this list changes every Thursday. So we do some print around major shows, and then we do some quicker ones that we can give out to tours when they visit the farm and things like that. But the most important thing is love what you do. And that's what I do. I truly love what I do every day. And I know a lot of you have a passion for what you do because I've met you, I've been to your farms, and you're excited to show what you have. And now with the Facebook and social media and the website, you can show the world that you have that passion. And that's what's going to bring those people to you when they decide to invest or buy or try to buy a live animal. They're going to call because they know you're part of it. So truly love what you do, and it will spread, and it will be a part of our industry, which is really good. Thank you. Does anyone have any questions? Yeah. Yeah, that's a very good question. So the question was, how many matings do we put on our inventory? And we will customize it. That's a very good question. If someone asks you about your inventory by email or social or something, it's always actually better to go back and find out what that customer is interested in. Because if a guy is asking me about Golden Jessica, I don't want to send him all my genomic ones because it's gonna be a waste and he's gonna get so confused. So what we like to do is try and ask back what they're doing, what they're interested in, that type of thing. And we'll send them 2 or 3 options and kind of get a feel for where they need to be. Because you always have to think about the product, but also the price. And if you have a couple different options in different categories, it can be really good to try and see where they want to be. Now, for when a group is visiting the farm, a lot of times we try and find a little bit more about the group that's coming. If they're coming to look at show cows or genomics, then we'll prepare it. We always, though, have the full list available because you never know who in the group could be interested in. So what we do in our list is I actually separate them into different sections. So we'll have the show cows in one section, and the genomic heifers in another section, and then the deep pedigreed ones in another section. So then that customer doesn't spend all the time going through all of the genomic ones if he doesn't want those. He just goes straight to the show cows. And that'll help. That actually, instead of clumping everything together in the order that they were flushed, just by separating them and letting that customer's eyes focus on the things that he likes or she likes, that's going to keep their attention there instead of jumping all over and potentially missing something. Does that help? Other questions? How many people have cell phones with them? Does everyone have cell phone? Hands up. Does everyone, you asked this question, how many people have Facebook? Does everyone use Facebook? There's 1.25 billion people that use Facebook once a month. So it's a huge resource, but you want to be sure that it's part of what you're doing because it can make a big difference. And now with all the technology available, all of us check our phones. My table, at least, there was 5 of us at the table, and 4 of us were on our cell phones. And I think 3 of them were on Facebook, because I taught them. So, it's something we all carry, and it's something that if it's of value to you, and you find a market for it, make it a part of your business, and get a road.
How do you find the initial market? Like, I feel like you have the experience, like, working with CNEX, so you know, like, okay, such and such countries are interested in high-producing 2-year-old or whatever. But how do you find that? I mean, like, for us, personally, we just finished an embryo contract in Korea, but they sort of found us.
Yep.
So, like, they provide a list, and then Abby Vet phoned and said, is this cow available? Well, that was the first time for us, so how do you kind of get out there yourself and find all that out?
Yeah. So the biggest thing with finding it is just talking to people. I spend a lot of my day either on the phone or on email, and now you have a connection. You know that AbbyVet is working with this tender in Korea. So when a cow in your herd, similar to those stats that they bought about that one, comes up, like maybe she's fresh, I would drop them a note right away and say, hey, this cow's fresh. She's similar to kind of what you were looking at before. Is that something that we could work with again? And that's how you're going to start building the connections. It takes time, for sure. I did it for 9 years, so it took a lot of time to build those connections. And someone just starting out, for sure, you look at it and you're like, well, this is a big hill, I don't even want to. But if you love what you do and you want to chase it, you're going to try and get up the hill. And to get up the hill, you're going to ask more questions, talk to more people. And it's amazing with social media, you can quickly, if you become part of a page that's just dedicated to health traits, let's say, I don't know if there is one, but there will be one day. And if you become part of that discussion, someone else that comments on a picture, you're going to connect to them and say, hey, I saw you were looking for low somatic cell cows, or hey, I saw you wanted you were looking for fresh cows, we just got some. And that's how you're going to start to build those connections. And we saw it with our embryo business at Blondin. Once we started selling to one person and they had good results, they would tell their neighbor, and then they would come to us and do the same thing. So for sure it takes time, and it's going to take time. But just you chip away at it every day. You send out one more email. You think, just want to go watch a hockey game. One more email. Just send out one more, and it's going to get you that much closer to your goal. Does that answer it? Okay. Thanks very much, guys. I really enjoyed the trip.